Here we are later, same day on Monday, and I got this all up today. It's actually a little bit easier in a lot of ways doing this myself. Just caught a lot of stuff as lots of bits of things. This stuff was black, obviously. It's the same product though. It's even written on. I don't know if you can see the writing on it. It's the same stuff. They sell a black version, a white version, or a light gray version, and we used the black on the front for no intentional purpose. It was just what they had. So but you can see a little bit better kind of how I'm detailing everything, that it's getting wrapped up and sealed all the way back to the concrete. So and come straight down onto this stone and seal it as best we can. So this is going to be bulk water, air, but also for like bugs, insects that we don't want coming in. Some areas didn't stretch as well as others, so I'll keep working at this. This irregular surface is tricky to do, but I thought it came out pretty flat. You can see that I cheated with a bunch of tape to hold it on the line, and was just a little more meticulous about how I installed this one, and didn't have my assistants with me, so I had to get more creative with putting it up. But you know, it's not perfect in places. I got a little bit of a fold over there, and what else? It's a little bumpy. You can kind of see the bumpiness down the bottom here, and how I'm overlapping it on the corners. Nice and sealed all the way in there. And so I mentioned, and you saw in the last video, that it was all liquid flashed first. And actually, the first thing was that Intello barrier. The second thing was the liquid flashing. A couple layers of it in certain places over here where those bolt heads were poking through the Intello. And then this FENTRIM went on last. And the whole idea is to have multiple layers for multiple levels of defense, but also, you know, we're putting the exterior insulation in it, you know, it's going to be similar to this stuff right here, but it's actually quite rigid. I know it looks like foam and it would just crumble, but it's quite solid. So if there were nail pops or issues, and you put it up against it, it would punch holes through those other materials pretty easily. And we don't want to leave the liquid flashing exposed because it's not UV rated for super long periods of time, and honestly we're not exactly sure when the siding and everything that will be covering this all up will go up. So it's basically a fabric. It's kind of a polyester blend or something, with that super adhesive sticky back. So it's going to hold up really well. It dries. It's vapor permeable, but water impermeable, and air impermeable. Bulk air, again, there's no drafts, no winds, but it'll allow the water to dry out. And that's the key. Obviously you don't want air and wind and drafts and bugs and things like that, but it's got to be able to dry. If you seal everything up with just like plastic, then you're trapping water in places you don't want it. So that's the key to this stuff. There's a whole lot of it going to happen. So the next steps are, we're going to do something similar in the basement with the Intello. It'll be a small strip like this on the floor, and there's already, wonder if we can peek in and see it up above. There's already the Intello that actually lines up with this stuff that we taped off to up above. And so I'll prep the stuff on the floor and get it taped off to the vapor barrier that's under the slab, and then it'll lay down on the floor. We'll lay it down on the floor, we'll build a wall on top of it, and the Intello will then connect from that bottom pad all the way up to the flap from that's here at the sill. So we'll get, at that point, we'll have the whole thing kind of from under the slab up to the exterior. Tomorrow there's supposed to be, this pallet here is the blue skin. It's basically the water and air barrier for the plywood here. They're gonna have to be pretty careful when they're applying this. They got a lot of nail pops and things, so I'll be on top of these guys tomorrow. Our contractor's off to a conference, and so we'll have them detail all of these pieces everywhere that they've moved windows. You can kind of see, I don't know if you can see that really well, but there's a lot of these splinters, and they gotta break those off, because this will look like it's gonna cover up good with the blue skin. It'll just be a bubble, and then they'll put that foam on it, and it'll punch a hole right through it. So they're gonna have to do something to clean this up. John said that they'd know what to do, so fingers crossed on that, because there's, again, I don't know if you could see that on camera, but there's a lot of these poking out. But that blue skin will go all the way up and connect all the way. There's Entella way at the top as well, way up there under the gable ends and down under the soffits as well. So that means all the way from the basement straight to the ridge and all the way up on the roof, all sealed, no air infiltration, no water vapor, allowing us to establish a consistent humidity level in the house that can be different from outside, which is important here in New England, and it'll make our systems in the house to try to maintain humidity and temperature put a lot less load on them, and it will be asking a lot less of them. So I think that's all for today. Hopefully I'll have more insulation similar to this, but it'll be 3 inches thick instead of 2 inches thick. That's what's spec'd on the inside of the basement walls. We'll be moving down there. I gotta hang all that stuff before they can build the basement stud walls on the exterior that the blown-in insulation will go into. So detailing around the perimeter edge, and then the insulation, and then I'll have to wait for them to do the rest of it before we get back in there. But that's what it looks like. I kind of like the black. It looks good against the granite, and it holds a pretty nice straight line. I guess, you know, after my 3rd day of doing it, I got a little better at it. The black hides all the mistakes a little bit better too, so. But ugly or beautiful, it is damn well sealed, and I don't think we're going to be seeing any ants or termites or anything else in this house, that is for sure. Alright, that's all for me today. Have a good one, and you'll see more of the house shortly.